Hello, everybody. Pastor Randy here. Welcome to Making It Simple. Great to be with you on this beautiful, beautiful Tuesday. Hope this day finds you doing well. We've been talking about joy. And as I was studying, preparing for today's lesson, a lot of different things were running through my mind. You know, yesterday we were talking about David and the message that he wrote when he asked and was pleading and praying, restore unto me the joy of my salvation. When we think about the power of those words, it was so much more than just saying, I want to feel something again. Because oftentimes feelings are just that. I mean, they last for a little bit and they move on, whether it's a good feeling or a bad one. But here there's something deeper, and this is what I want us to focus on today for just a little bit. David wanted assurance. You see, when we have a deep, sincere care in a relationship, be it a friendship, be it a more intimate, spousal thing or what have you, we want to know things are okay. There's an unsettling in us when we think that there's any type of distance or any type of rift or anything that's unsettling. We want that corrected if we have our hearts in the right place, because that absolutely affects our joy. There's one of the connections that we see between love and joy, because if that division, if that unsettlement, if that stays there long enough, then we begin to question the love. Again, I've shared with you on this platform, all my years in law enforcement and sadly even some personal experiences. You deal with family court and other things, and you see things in your life and you see relationships broken and you hear words about, I don't love this person anymore. I don't like this and we see that brokenness. And when joy begins to frazzle, when it begins to get upended, it absolutely impacts the love. That is why it has to be real. And so as it starts with love, the fruit of the Spirit is love and joy and peace. It always goes back to love. So it starts there and it always goes back to there, because that one component is what keeps everything else in check. Because when that's not right, none of the rest of it is going to work. The struggle for a lot of people today is finding joy. Now, the reason that I say that is because, and again, this is not to single out any one person or situation, but it's just true across the board. Oftentimes, we attempt to find joy in stuff. We attempt to find joy in a relationship with another person, or in our careers, or in our hobbies. And none of those things are necessarily wrong, because the furthest thing that Pastor Randy is anything even remotely close to legalist. There's no joy found in that. So I'm not saying we can't go and enjoy life, because I absolutely believe that we are supposed to, because Jesus gave us life and it more abundantly, and I believe that it's a gift that we're to use. But if we specifically look for joy in those moments, we can enjoy those moments. So here, understand me now. We can enjoy the moment, but we should never place our joy in the moment. What's the difference? I'm having a good time, but also in the back of my mind, not from a negative or pessimistic way, but I know that it is a temporary thing. It's not going to be the same tomorrow. That is why I need to find something that is going to bring me joy eternally, not temporarily. And so while all these great things that bring us a level of joy or happiness, and they're fun and we smile and they're great memories, they're fleeting. They are. And again, that is not looking at it through the half-empty glass or anything like that. Things change. I said this in an earlier lesson. Time, age, interest, all this stuff. Everything changes according to these realities. Again, this is not to say that we should not engage or that we should not have those fun moments and make those memories. I encourage that you do. Some of the best things that makes me smile sometimes is looking back and thinking about fishing with my grandfather or teaching my kids to ride a bike or whatever, petting your first puppy, all those things like that. But when we come to really begin to understand the word joy from an eternal perspective, we need to find that which brings us peace and settlement and assurance in our heart. And I'm telling you, friends, in this life, I've gone around the globe and I've probably tried it all, the good and the bad. And I'm telling you right now, and this has nothing to do with religion, there's only one answer, and that is walking with Christ. It's the only answer, friends, because in Him, only in Him do we find pure love. Unadulterated, unquestioned, without a doubt, pure love. In Him we find true forgiveness, not with conditional things and not with strings attached. Real forgiveness. When God said it's forgiven, it is finished, it is done. In Him we find unending grace. We find encouragement beyond words and correction when it's needed. That's the whole package. And nowhere else will we find that. Nowhere else will we find that. John chapter 15 and verse 11, Jesus says this, I have told you these things. Now think about that. When someone cares enough about you to tell you the truth, that's real. That's where we begin to look at the concept of reality, temporary versus eternal. When this is real, I care enough about you, I love you enough to tell you the truth. This is what Jesus says. I have told you these things so that my joy, His joy, may be in you. What did He say? I'm telling you that my joy is in you, and so your joy may be complete. Think about the word complete. It compares with finished, full. In other words, it's whole. There's nothing missing. It is the eternal circle that can't be broken. When we think about that, He's saying, that's what I'm giving you. Now, as with all gifts, what is the concept of that? I have to receive it. I have to accept it. It's only an offer until I do. It's only an offer until I receive it and put it to use. So here is the question to all of us, asking it to yourself. How's my joy? I want you to think about that today. How's my joy? Because here's the reality. Life is going to challenge that answer. Life is going to challenge that answer because immediately when we begin to think of the concept of joy, when we begin to think of that word, we instantly go to that which derives pleasure. And so when we think about how's my joy, we begin to look at the conditions that surround us. The news, that's depressing. Our health condition, don't know, that could be all kinds of different answers for that. Our family situation, our financial matters. Those oftentimes are joy stealers. Not that we cannot find joy for a moment in those, but oftentimes we cannot place eternal joy in those. So when we begin to think about the challenges to that question, how's my joy? Let's move it to the other level and think about, well, what about my peace with God? Is that settled? Do I find a true comfort there, or is there a void? Is there a question? Is there something that's unsettled? Because David said, "Restore unto me." So it wasn't there right in that moment. He had lost that. Not that God took it away. He walked away. He went into another direction. Jesus says that His joy has been offered. Now that's key. Very understanding there. Our task is to remain in that. He said, "My joy is in you, that your joy may be complete. Your joy may be full." It's our call, our task to remain in that. Life, again, the enemy other things is absolutely going to attempt to take it away from us. Not a question about that. It's absolutely going to happen. But because of the love that God has for us, He has also given us joy. I want you to see how those two things tie together. It belongs to nothing or no one else. God gave it to you. I want you to think about that today. God loves me. God gave me joy. These are gifts from God. These were handed directly to you. Will you accept it? Have you accepted it? If you have, do you need a restoration? Have you let something take that away from you? Go get it. March right into the enemy's camp and take it back. It's not his. Hold on to it with everything that you've got. If things aren't where they need to be, if there's a restoration needed, if there's a spiritual evaluation needed in your life, talk to Him. Talk to Him, because He can restore the joy of your salvation, and He can reset your focus on the things that matter. We're going to continue looking at this a little bit more tomorrow as we start winding down the concept of understanding joy, how love produces that, and how it absolutely moves us toward peace. I'm going to show you how peace will only come when we have love and joy. God bless you, friends. Lord willing, I'll see you tomorrow.